Welcome to the video. In this video, we'll show you how to install Armory Craft's extended mag release into the Sig Guy P320. Let's get started. Okay, so you're considering an extended mag release for your P320, or you've already purchased one and you just want to know how to easily install that into your pistol. So in this video, we'll go over the description of the extended mag release itself, and then in the end, we'll show you how to easily install that into your P320. As always, we're going to make sure we're working on a safe firearm, so we're going to lock the slide to the rear. We're going to physically and visually check to make sure there's no round in the chamber, which there's not. And then we're going to do the same thing to this other one. Physically and visually check to make sure there's no round in the chamber. Never any magazines in my pistols while they're on the bench. Okay, so let's talk about the mag release button itself. Plus 3 millimeters longer than your factory one. As you can see here, I got a factory one installed in this P320, and we're going to use this one to install our Armory Craft button. And then in our X5, you can see we already have it installed. This is just to show you the difference with and without that button. So I know everything says competition, 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 but this is just not for competitive shooters, okay? This is for also people with smaller hands, larger hands, anybody that has a hard time changing out that magazine and hitting that button, okay? I know the way it feels on this one, it's almost hard to find sometimes when you're shooting, to find it quickly. If your fingers aren't very long and you can't reach that button, or if your fingers are very long and you cannot, you're not flexible enough to, or easy enough to, move your thumb back to hit that mag release, this is going to solve a lot of those problems, okay? As I'm holding this and I'm shooting, I can feel it. It's there. I feel it all the time. I know exactly where it is, and then it's very easy to push with that extra 3 millimeters on there. So much quicker and easier reloads with the extended mag release. As far as holster fitment questions, that's asked all the time. It is just something you have to try on your own particular holster. All of my holsters, this is not an issue, nor is the sport takedown lever. Plenty of room in all my holsters, fits perfectly. So let's talk about the description on the website real quick. The extended P320 magazine button, plus 3 millimeters for the P320, P320 Compact, VTAC, X-Full, M17, M18, X5, and X5 Legion Sig Guy pistols. This is for the 9 millimeter, the 40 Smith & Wesson, and the 357 Sig only. This will not fit the 45 ACP, as those grip modules are wider, and it will not fit the subcompact grip modules either. This is legal for IDPA and USPSA competition use, and as we've already talked about, it's 3 millimeters longer than your factory mag release. The extended mag release button is anatomically optimized for easier and faster release, as used on true competition pistols. The angled head, which you can see the nice curvature there, and texture. The angled head matches the natural curve of the thumb for positive contact and control. Precision manufactured from hardened stainless steel compared to the MIM factory product in your Sig Guy. Okay, that's metal injection molding. This is actually CNC'd from a solid piece of steel. And it's finished in a durable black nitride for wear resistance. So as always, Armory Craft, they always go above and beyond. Not only does their stuff look awesome, but they pay really good attention to detail. And what I'm talking about here is they even have their logo engraved on the mag release here, Armory Craft. It's pretty cool. So there you go. That's all about the extended mag release by Armory Craft. Let's move on to the installation. I know this can be a very difficult task, but it does not have to be, okay? So watch this video, the rest of it, in its entirety through before actually tackling this. There are several different methods that I've used, and my favorite is the Allen wrench method, okay? The reason why I choose an Allen wrench is because it's made of a really rigid, stiff metal, and there's not a whole lot of flex to it. Some people use paper clips and other items, and that's fine. This is my go-to right here. Also, I just recently made a video of a SIM card tool to get your SIM cards out of your phones. It's got a nice little pointed end on it here, which works very well also. And then there is the razor blade method which I've made a video on as well. So if you want to use the razor blade or the SIM card, just check out those videos. In this one here, we're going to use the Allen wrench method. Alright, as you can already see, I have mine removed from my P320, and the reason why I did that is I think it's a lot easier to understand and take something apart if you know how it works. So your mag release is made up of these three pieces here: the mag release itself, the little wedge that locks it into place, and the spring. When you get your mag release from Armory Craft, it's going to be just this piece right here. So it's very important that you do not lose the spring or mutilate the wedge trying to get it out of your grip module. If you lose the spring or ruin your wedge, you're going to have to get an aftermarket part from Sig or some other aftermarket company. So the way that this works is on your mag release, the little wedge goes just like this. Okay? That's what you see on the outside of your pistol when it's installed. And your mag release itself has this little shelf right under here, and that is what the wedge hits against, preventing it from coming out. Okay, so your wedge is like a V. Okay, you can see this arm right here, and you can see the main body portion is right here. So this part here, this arm here, is captured underneath the shelf on your mag release. So in order to get this little wedge out, what we need to do is push this arm right here against the body, which will get it out from underneath that shelf and allow this to come up and out. Okay, so that's how that works. So when we have this installed in our pistol and we push our mag release as if we're releasing the magazine, on the opposite side you'll see this little hole. And that little hole is what gives you access to that wedge. So when I put my Allen wrench through that little hole, okay, the way I'm doing it is I pull down on my Allen wrench, or excuse me, I push up on my Allen wrench, I push it in against that wedge, okay, against the arm, that second arm over here, that's going to collapse when we push in on it. So I'm pushing in with my Allen wrench, and then I'm rotating my Allen wrench down, which is forcing that wedge up. And then I'm going to overemphasize this, or exaggerate. I pull my Allen wrench out, push it up, push it back in, collapsing that wedge, and then pull my Allen wrench down, which makes it come out even more. So when you do this over and over really quickly, pushing in, pulling down, pulling out, pushing up, you know, over and over, it's going to walk that wedge right out of the grip module. And when this is all together, I'll show you how to do it, and you'll be able to easier understand. But I just want to show you how that wedge actually locks into here. It's a lot easier to get it out if you understand what you are trying to do when you're trying to get this out of there. So let me get this all put back together, and then I'll show you how it's done. Alright, so I reinstalled the magazine release, and I always keep my Allen wrench in this because for one, it's so small it's hard to find in the drawer, but I also show people this so they can get the part number and stuff off of it right off Amazon. This one is super long, super rigid, works awesome, so highly recommend getting one of these. I also want to mention as well that on the factory wedge there's also a little notch on the outside edge here. Okay, and when you push this all the way in, it reveals a little like notch or a ledge or whatever you want to call it. Some people use that. To me, it's more difficult because you still have to push it on that wedge, and then some people use a razor blade or a knife blade or whatever and use that ledge to pry that wedge out. To me, after you see this method here, you're probably not going to use that method either. That involves you kind of pushing this down on an armorer's block, which, you know, raises up your magazine release. You can get your Allen wrench into this side as you're pushing down, and then using a blade to work that wedge out. Last case result, if you mutilate this thing totally, maybe that's something you want to try. But when you see how easy this is, I've never used that method. So we'll just do this really quick just so you can see how easy it is. Basically, I put mine like this, I'm pressing up with my finger, and then I'm going to stick my Allen wrench in my hole. And most of my modules are Cerakoted, so I would not advise letting go of the magazine release with the Allen wrench or whatever tool you're using installed. It's going to make a nice little indentation right here on the grip module, especially on the TXG, the tungsten grip module, because it's pretty soft stuff. So if your fingers get tired or whatever, pull the tool out and release it. So as I push in on this, I'm pushing in like that, and I'm just going like that. You can see that just walked its way right out of there. I'll do that again. See if we can get a better angle on it. I'm going to push it with my thumb. Put my tool right in there. It's that easy. When I make these videos, it makes a lot of people mad because they've already struggled with it for an hour or so. And then they find the video and they're like, wow. All right, so like I said, it's spring loaded, so don't let it go. And then make sure you're over something in case that little spring comes flying out. But I usually point mine straight up, not facing me, but straight up. And then I just pull that mag release right out the side. You can see the spring is still sitting right on there. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to take our Armory Craft mag release. We're going to put our spring right in that little notch on there. Just like that. We're going to hold it just like this and reinstall it the same way. So what I usually do is I get it most of the way in there. And again, make sure you do this over a table or something in case that spring wants to come flying out of there. But I'll take my finger, put it in through the mag well as I'm watching that mag release. Come through the other side just like that. So what mine was doing is dipping down here. So I just stick my finger in there and I pull that magazine release up, and you can see it wanting to come right through the hole, and then just push it the rest of the way. So we'll put this wedge back in, and there's that little groove I was telling you about if you want to use a razor blade or a knife. I used to try that a while ago, and it basically just dug the corner of that wedge right off because the blade was sharp. So anyway, this only goes in one way. We'll get it started just like that. We'll push it until it clicks. It's locked in place. Now we can release it. And there you go. It's as easy as that. So again, if this method here doesn't work for you, there is a really good razor blade method, which I've done videos for as well. And then there is the SIM card removal tool method also. So I hope this video has helped. I appreciate you very much for watching. Thank you and have a good day.